that a cell tower at Longview Rec Center or elementary school brings. It's not rural. It's a densely populated area. You're in, as I shared with you, you're in eyesight of a cell phone tower that sits on the hill over top of Heritage Elementary and Heritage Middle. So there's cell coverage, more than sufficient cell coverage in Spring Hill in that area. So I'm not sure what building a cell tower on school property adds to the value of cell coverage in Spring Hill, quite frankly. And there are many other places in the city, in Spring Hill on hills, the cell towers can go. There are multiple water towers that could provide, city water towers that could provide similar type of coverage as well. So I would encourage you guys, even when this comes up, that we don't approve it, to put another one on a school property. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Brown?
Thank you. I just want to go on record publicly that to thank some of these parents who have been really vocal. Many of them are in my district. Trinity sits in my district, and I think the parents who started this conversation and started raising these concerns all, for the most part, live in the 4th District. And so I just want to say thank you to them, because I don't know that this issue would have gotten this far and wouldn't have been elevated had they not spoken up. So thank you to them if they're watching, and I'll thank them personally as well. I'm not convinced necessarily that these cell towers are dangerous. I don't think we know the answer to that. And I'm not opposed to the towers per se, but I do think that if we think there's potentially risk, we should be advocating for a minimum distance of some kind. I think it's good the county's doing what they're doing with the 1,500 feet. I would suggest, and I've been put it out there on the table, that I may push for at some point the board doing a resolution itself to just put a marker down from our perspective what we think it should be. Because the county resolution would only apply to unincorporated areas. Isn't that right, Bobby?
Yes, it's on county property.
Yeah.
Like the Longview one. The Longview one is actually just an option lease.
Yeah.
We didn't approve a tower that's planning, but because it's on there, the only action by the county commission was to approve an option lease.
So from my perspective, if it's a situation where the school sits next to private property or sits next to municipally owned property, for example, we wouldn't necessarily be able to prevent it.
Correct.
But we would at least have something memorialized that says, here's where we stand as a board on this, and here's our perspective and our view, if the board chose to do that. So I just want to put it out there that I may, at the next meeting or somewhere in the near future, bring this forward, and others are welcome to weigh in on it, but I just want to not surprise anyone with that.
I think there's some wisdom in that, because the county has jurisdiction over the rural areas plus county properties. There's some wisdom in us at least discussing, should we have standards that parallel county standards?
Mr. Hall?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with what Mr. Brown said too, and I'm thinking, like as the emails came rolling in, I thought, man, I'm no expert on this at all. And if there's a public safety concern about having cell coverage, and this is the only location you could have it, then that's a different discussion. But the parents were framing this in a way like, how can we be sure? And I'm like, that is a high bar to clear. And this is the last thing I want to do my own internet research on, believe me. So I don't feel entirely comfortable, even though I don't have particular concerns about this technology in general. I can't feel comfortable saying you kids should be fine with it. So I appreciate that this is being reconsidered. I also want to know about, as they do come back to this, what is the lifespan of that technology? Like, do new towers get built anyhow for new, 6G or whatever in the future? And, would that use the same tower, and would that back us into a corner where they'd have to say like, oh, well, we've got to use this, and there could be even additional concerns in the future. I don't know.
Well, that's a good question, y'all. Do you think about how many telephone landlines have been given up on over time, right? And Wi-Fi, and you're trading one technology for another, right? The Wi-Fi is on a radio frequency, but your telephones weren't. They were on a frequency wave that was further down the left side of the spectrum, and who knows what's coming next.
All right, thank you. Next item on the